Okay, welcome everyone to our first day of sort of quasi class as we're conducting it online now to this alternative sort of instruction. This is English 235, Introduction to Poetry. It's going to be an exciting class. We got some really good books we're going to delve into and discover how evocative they are with regard to being poetic, various elements of poetry that the poet, the author, is including or excluding from their work and why. This is the Fall 2020 Standard. WBMA is the section. Uh, English 235. My name is Jeremy Jackson. I'll be the instructor for this class. My telephone number here is incorrect. That's my office, and I'm not going to be in the office because of us working remotely. So feel free to email me, and that is the correct email there, jjackson@mhc.ab.ca at any time. We're going to cover that in a moment. Disregard the room number. It is my office, but it really doesn't apply here. So the calendar description, English 235 is, this course studies selected poetry written in English. Instruction is in critical writing as part of this course. So it's fairly vague, and I'll tell you this, really, we're just covering contemporary poets. Some of it's going to be war poetry, some of it's going to be Japanese poetry later on when we have sort of a flex day. Yeah, and it's going to be, and we're going to write critically about it. We're going to read the poetry and we're going to write an essay on it. That's basic, the basic structure, very simple, of this class. And then we're going to do some online Blackboard stuff to participate in some discussions. But we'll cover that in a moment. Okay, so you can see here, this doesn't really matter. This is arbitrary. The times, 9:25 a.m. to 10:40 a.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yes, uh, there will be a lecture posted to Blackboard on Tuesdays and Thursdays that I will simultaneously email the link to everybody. It's going to be just like this, just like you have today, the way you receive this. You get the link, you listen to the lecture, you do whatever's due that day by looking at the how when I break it down, the dates that we're going to see later within this lecture. But really, the times don't matter. Tuesdays and Thursdays, yes, those dates matter. That's when we're going to meet. But what I will do is this: I will post the lecture to Blackboard and email it to you by 1 p.m. every day that we meet. So every Tuesday and Thursday. Just look out for that link and then go listen to it. Office hours. Okay, so these are alternative office hours because there's alternative instruction. As we have shifted to alternative instruction, online courses, feel free to contact me via email anytime during the week in order to field any concerns or to seek any clarification for this class. This is imperative. I taught this class, English 235, in the summer. And it was a whirlwind because it's 1 month long if you've ever taken a summer class. So we meet every day online. It went fine. I mean, once we get past the first, say, week, people understood the basic structure of the course, right? You're lucky in that we're stretching it out for 3 months, whereas they had to do an essay every week it was due, right? Read a whole book that week. At the end of the week, the essay's due. Oh, I think I gave them the Monday. So if book is finished reading by Friday, we've talked about it, I've lectured on it, then Monday they submit it. We'll see what our dates are in a moment. But I say only contact me during the week. That's fine. Contact me during the week, or if on the weekend you have any inquiries or concerns for consideration. That's fine too. I will email you within an hour during the week. On the weekend, I can't promise that, but I'll certainly email you as soon as possible, most likely and typically and historically by the end of that day. Okay, so here are the learning resources that are required reading for this class. Purchase learning resources here. You can go to that link if you wish. My advice to you is what I'm doing. A couple of the books I already have, uh, like the physical form, the paperback, but a couple of them I chose as new ones, specifically Black Zodiac by Charles Wright. And so what I'm doing with that, and I think it's a lot easier to teach that way because I can screenshot a lot of the poems instead of having to type them out or find them online, is I just get the ebook on Kindle from Amazon. I would suggest, I think all these are available through ebook, um, hopefully. So these are the books we're going to cover. They are required, and these are not necessarily in the order we're going to read them. I believe we read Charles Wright's Black Zodiac first. So we get Kate Marvin, my apologies. She was the editor for Best New Poets 2019. That's University of Virginia Press. Let's see, Matt Rasmussen, he wrote Black Aperture um, to LSU Press, Louisiana State University. Brian Turner, Here Bullet. It's a book about, well, I'll just go through this. Uh, Black Aperture is about, Matt Rasmussen wrote this about, inspired in a way, if you can use that word, stretching it a bit, about his brother committing suicide. So the whole book is sort of a meditation on that. Here Bullet sounds like it would be the same thing because of the bullet part, but it's about Brian Turner's time serving in Iraq, uh, in the Army. I was in Iraq as well, but in the Marine Corps. So we really sort of categorize this as war poetry. So it's very autobiographical. Uh, then Black Zodiac is by Charles Wright. It won the Pulitzer Prize in Poetry in 1998. And these are required readings. We're going to need them. We're going to read one a week, or sorry, we're going to focus on one a month, having discussions about them, me lecturing on them, and then you submitting essays on them. Okay, course objectives, learning outcomes. The course objections for English 235 are as follows. To familiarize students with the breadth of contemporary poetry, which we certainly will. To study the style, mechanics, and structure of poetry. To practice and hone critical and interpretive thought. So you're going to read, like we mentioned before, read the book. We're going to have robust, hopefully, discussions, both from top down, meaning me talking to you, and also you participating in the discussion online on Blackboard. And then we'll get to sort of the understanding of how these poets are, we can critically analyze how they're being put together and crafted by the author, and then write about it, hopefully. And there's many ways we can approach the essay writing. I can talk about that later. When we actually start getting assignments, due dates. Learning objectives. The courses, assignments, and discussions will assist students in developing critical thinking skills. That's an important component, a very important component to this class, and I'm going to grade you on, correct? You can't just turn the essay in. We just really just talk about, oh, I really like this or this poem, and this is why. Right? We want to dig a little deeper, distill down to really the essence of your argument, right? Make it more specific. Than just saying I liked it. The course's written assignments will enable students to improve and hone their writing skills. The course's readings will give students practice in discerning the underlying meaning of a text and gathering evidence to support their viewpoint. There's going to be lots of open interpretation, as this is sort of a discussion, a dialectic within this class. There's going to be various interpretations of poems, where I'm going to be open to that idea, There's going to be general consensus. You're like, wow, I'm really interpreting Brian Turner's poem, Here Bullet, is one of the poems actually in the book called Here Bullet. You might interpret it one way, and the rest of the class maybe agrees or doesn't agree. And then I'll help guide you and steer you in the direction of, well, I really think Brian Turner was trying to get at the essence of this. The main theme of his poetry is this, right? So it's a learning curve. It'll take some time. A lot of people are going to bring some already expertise to the table with regard to interpreting poetry, and other individuals will have to catch up, and that's fine. It's what the class is all about. Okay, here's the detailed course content, the topics and sequences, the various dates that things are due. And I think you're going to see a pattern emerge, and it becomes very cyclical at some point. Every month, it's going to be the same thing. Once we establish the first month, once you go through the boot camp of the first month, it's going to be clear to you how this class is going to operate from that point forward. Okay, so September 3rd is a Thursday, Introduction to Course and Class Expectations. That's today, right? You're getting the course review or course overview. September 8th, Tuesday, review MLA formatting style. That's going to be imperative, Modern Language Association. If you've taken 203 or English 252, Introductory to Composition, you will be very familiar with MLA formatting style. I cannot accept a paper that's written in APA because every English class from your past and then into your future are always going to be Modern Language Association formatting style. Nothing other than that. Not APA. I get papers all the time that are written in APA. I'm not 100% sure. In 235, I get those, but certainly in 252 and 203, I'll get a paper once a semester, twice a semester. It's completely written in APA style that we've covered before through lecture, like we will here. Receive a pretty robust PowerPoint structuring for us and showing us how to do MLA. And you can always ask me if you aren't 100% certain before you turn in a paper if it's properly formatted. September 10th, Thursday, review elements of poetry. So we're going to get really drill down on the concepts of what is it that really makes poetry evocative. I've parsed from poems and created a list, a pretty long list, around 45 attributes that I believe that good poetry, evocative poetry, borrows from. September 15th, Tuesday, review Black Aperture. So there we go. When I say review, what I really mean is synonymous with lecture. I'm going to lecture you on these things. I'm going to lecture you on September 15th on Black Aperture. September 17th, Thursday, review Black Aperture continued. So we're just going to continue with me lecturing on it. I'm going to talk about some of the themes and concepts, and I'm going to parse from it the various elements of poetry in order to exemplify to you what the author was attempting to do, so you can have sort of understanding of where you need to go when it comes time for you to write on Black Aperture for your essay. September 22nd, Tuesday, students comment on open-ended question number 1 via Blackboard. So basically the way this is structured and formatted is I'll put a question, not very long, one sentence probably, uh, into Blackboard. You have the opportunity, it'll be a window that you have an opportunity to go in there. It'll be a day. You have the entire day to go in there and then respond to that question. A paragraph is typical length, to respond to it. It'll be from Black Aperture. Each open-ended question, there's 4 of them, right? Addresses the very book of poetry, collection of poetry that we're reading for that month. September 24th, so a couple days later, on Thursday, students post comments in discussion number 1 via Blackboard. So I'm going to go in there. I'm going to create a discussion room, a feed. You guys go in there. You react to it. I'll give you instruction on how to get into the discussion and all that. Same thing with the open-ended question. I'll email you all the instructions on how to do it, and then set you loose. So just go in there. I'm going to post a discussion. It could be elements of poetry. What do you think are the most evocative ways that a poet can incorporate elements of poetry? And just give me a couple ideas as to why, right? Something like that. Not too hard, not too challenging, but will get you to think and address the text that we are reading for that month. September 29th, Tuesday, short essay number 1 for Black Aperture due via Blackboard. So you can post your short essay to Blackboard. 3 to 5 pages, double space. I'll go over that, all MLA formatting. I'll go over that later though, right before or the week before it's due. October 1st. Now you can see we've moved past. Sorry, Black Aperture was the first book. You see now we've moved past. We're in a new month. We're in a new book now. So now it becomes, you could see the pattern emerging, materializing in front of us. October 1st, Thursday, review Black Zodiac by Charles Wright. October 6th, Tuesday, review Black Zodiac continues. So I'm mirroring and paralleling exactly what's above for the prior book, right? How the pacing and the tempo of how we're moving through this semester. October 8th, Thursday, students comment on open-ended question number 2 via Blackboard. Same process. I'll email you with instructions. You go in there. You have the day to do it. October 13th, Tuesday, students post comment in discussion number 2 via Blackboard. October 15th, that discussion will be corresponding to the book that we're reading for this month, which will be, in this case, in October, Black Zodiac. October 15th, Thursday, review other works by Charles Wright. So last semester I had Chickamauga, which is another book by Charles Wright, highly well received. And I think we're going to make strong connections, hopefully, with his prior work and then his book that won the Pulitzer Prize in 1998. So we're going to review some of his other work. October 20th, Tuesday, short essay number 2 for Black Zodiac due via Blackboard, 3 to 5 pages, double spaced, MLA formatting. And again, I'll cover that prior to it being due. October 22nd, review here bullet. Now we're moving on. We're towards the end of October. We're moving on to the next book. Review here bullet, which means I'm just going to lecture on here bullet. And then October 27th, Tuesday, review here bullet continued. So another lecture on here bullet. October 29th, Thursday, students comment on open-ended question number 3 via Blackboard. November 3rd, now we're into a new month. We should be approaching a new book. Students post comments in discussion number 3 via Blackboard. November 5th, Thursday, review war poetry as subgenre. So we're going to look at Brian Turner, and we're going to try to place his work into a subgenre called war poetry by looking at World War I, World War II war poets, and some of my work when I spent time in war, some of the work, the poetry I've written, have published, which has major themes of war, but as a subgenre, it's war poetry. It's labeled war poetry. November 10th, Tuesday, short essay number 3 for here bullet due via Blackboard. November 12th, no class. Wow, finally a no class. All my other classes, they have no class early on. This one comes late, November 12th. No class, so that'd be a welcome relief, right, guys? November 17th, Tuesday, review Best New Poets 2019. We're on to the final book. We're looking at contemporary Best New Poets of last year. So we're going to read the whole book, and then we're going to talk. I'll discuss some of the poets, some of the better ones I think that are in the book, and why they're better, why they're more evocative than the other ones. November 19th, Thursday, review Best New Poets 2019 continues, so we're sticking with that. November 24th, Tuesday, students comment on open-ended question number 4, final one. And November 26th, still got December to look at, but that's on the next slide. November 26th, however, Thursday, review Indigenous Renaissance in Poetry, Joe Harjo et al. All right, so we're going to look at, she's a Native American poet who was Poet Laureate last year. And others. I put et al. In there. That means there's more that we're going to look at, individuals. Yeah, and then we'll look at what's being called Indigenous Renaissance. We'll speak about the history of that when we look at it. Next slide, please. All right, and then we're into December. December 1st, Tuesday, review Japanese poetic forms. There's a ton of them, not just haiku, right? There's more of that. There's tanka, there's wanka, there's haibun. So we're going to look at other forms of Japanese poetry. December 3rd, and this could be ancient Japanese poetry. When we say ancient, we're not going back a couple thousand years. We're going back, gosh, like 400 or 500 years to Basho, one of the most famous Japanese poet. December 3rd, Thursday, Elements of Poetry test via Blackboard. So I'll post. Uh, you're going to get the Elements of Poetry both as a lecture, but also as a handout that I'm going to post to Blackboard. So you'll be able to access that, hopefully to study for it. And then I'll ask a series of questions, some multiple choice, some fill in the blank. And then you'll be able to take that test via Blackboard. You have the whole window, which is a day, to do so. December 8th, so Tuesday, final essay due via Blackboard. So at the end of the semester. With regard to there is an exam. There is not an exam in this class, which is going to be a welcome relief for a lot of individuals when you enter those dark days of winter and you have a lot of assignments coalescing within this class, or within this semester rather. So it's going to be welcome not to have one in here. But we will have a test just to make sure we were paying attention the whole time, okay? Okay, the instructional techniques within this class. This class relies heavily on the use of Blackboard and Metastatic College email for posting my PowerPoints lectures via YouTube, as well as our class assignments, which include number 1, Blackboard discussions, which we covered. Number 2, Blackboard open-ended questions. Number 3, Blackboard short essays and your final essay submission. And then, of course, the last and final thing, the test on poetic elements. So it's really going to require you, I would say it's up to you, it's your discretion, whatever timeline you want to stick to. If you want to listen to the lectures on Tuesdays and Thursdays when I send them and post them simultaneously at 1 o'clock, at 1 p.m., or if you want to wait to the end of the week, as long as it doesn't interfere with your ability to turn in assignments, right? Or to actually make sophisticated comments in the discussions without listening to the lecture. It wouldn't make sense to do that, right? But whatever pattern you want to figure out that works for you, that's fine with me. I have nothing really. I have no way to sort of discern unless I start seeing assignments start to suffer. And I say this individual must clearly didn't listen to the lecture. So grade assessment. Within this class, we'll have 3 short essays, 15% each, 4 open-ended comments via Blackboard. So you just commenting with a paragraph, that's 15%. 3 class discussion posts via Blackboard, 10%. Final essay, 20%. And then elements poetry test, 10%. This will come in handy. And what I'm going to do too is so you have these dates, in front of you, and not just have to keep going back to this PowerPoint to access it. But I'll email everybody the course outline, or I'll post it to Blackboard, and probably I'll simultaneously email as well, so that you constantly have it. You can search on it with my name into your email and then find it, print it off, maybe have it in front of you. But these are the dates of major assessments. 22nd of September, students comment on open-ended question number 1. 24th of September, students post comment and discussion number 1 in Blackboard. 29th of September, short essay number 1 for Black Aperture due via Blackboard. October 8th, students comment on open-ended question number 2 via Blackboard. 13th of October, students post comments and discussion number 2 via Blackboard. October 20th, short essay number 2 for Black Zodiac due via Blackboard. October 29th, students comment on open-ended question number 3 via Blackboard. November 3rd, students post comments and discussion number 3 via Blackboard. November 10th, short essay number 3 for Here Bullet due via Blackboard. November 24th, students comment on open-ended question number 4 via Blackboard. Now we're getting towards the end of the semester. December 3rd, elements poetry test via Blackboard, and then of course the final day of class, December 8th, final essay due via Blackboard. And as you can see at the very bottom, sort of on a split page, final exam. There is no final exam set for this course by the registrar's office, and that's a good thing. Late assignments and missed exam policy. So redact the last part, dismiss that. There is an exam, there is not an exam, so we'll forego looking at that. You're responsible for turning your work in on time. Assignments should be submitted to Blackboard before midnight on the specified due dates. Late assignments will be penalized 5% per day. Work will not be accepted more than 7 days after the posted deadline. Work submitted more than 7 days will receive a grade of 0. Deadlines will not be extended without penalty unless you have a valid reason, illness, family emergency, extenuating circumstances, and you email me asking for an extension at least 24 hours before the assignment is due. I understand we're in this brave new world, this new formatting of alternative online course delivery and the mode of delivery that we're accessing. So I'm going to try to be within reason, as flexible as possible. In some cases, such as medical illness, I may ask for documentation. If you will need to miss class for a documented illness or a religious holiday or other religious activity and need accommodation, be in touch with me well in advance if possible so we can plan accordingly. That's fairly straightforward. Um, Email me. Always the way this class is going to work out, the way all this online uh, class structure is going to work out and be successful is if we stay in constant communication. If you have any questions, right, you have to email me. We're never going to see each other. We're never going to meet brick and mortar face to face, and we're never going to meet online as part of like a Google Meeting or something of that nature, right, or Zoom, right? So this is all we have. This is I'm posting the lectures, you listen to them, and you email me if you have any questions. Academic dishonesty, plagiarism, and cheating are serious offenses and may be punished by failure on exam, paper, or project, failure in course, and or expulsion from the course. I think that's pretty straightforward. Just document, direct quote, right? Put quotation marks around it, give attribution, which is according to Charles Wright, when he wrote Black Zodiac, he thought he would be able to, quote, create a new sort of way of writing poetry, unquote. There you go. All right, so I attributed it to Charles Wright, and I gave direct quotes, right? The quotation marks. I mean, you could paraphrase as well. We're going to go over that. Uh, but you just got to make sure you're given the attribution according to so-and-so, and then paraphrase what they say. If it has something to do with whatever the topic of your essay is. Okay, common grading scheme. I think this is right on par with, whatever class you've ever taken, even if it's not for MRU. This is pretty darn close to that. So I'll just let you take a look at that at your leisure. The accessibility statement. If you have this, great. I don't think there's much room for accessibility. The need for it, you can submit the documentation to me if you wish. If you get it, I'll be more than happy to respect that and accommodate for that if you need be. But really, we only have one thing, and that's a test that would really require accessibility statement of some sort this semester. But you have the whole day, so you have plenty of time, more so than you would get if you were in brick and mortar face to face. If you are a student that requires additional accommodation to support your learning and have been approved through our Accessibility Service Office, room B367, please contact your instructor prior to exams or any other forms of evaluation if accommodation is desired. Perfectly welcome and open to that idea if you need that. Medical health statement. This is very important. You might have received this already. I doubt any of you are first-year students within this class, but first-year students had to go through first-year orientation, and I give a mental health statement via a YouTube video. Medicine at College recognizes the importance of student mental health and well-being and has many resources available for supporting students throughout their academic journey. Services such as counseling, support groups, self-help modules, dedicated to helping you manage things like anxiety, stress, depression, and relationships are accessible to students on the campus, which is not true, as well as online, which is 100% true. It's all shifted online. It's important that you realize that you have this available to you because it's going to get really, really stressful at some point if you're taking multiple classes in the semester, and that's normal. But if you really need to reach out to and need to talk to somebody because you really feel as if it's all getting backed up and you don't know which way to turn, then these people are accessible. Their expertise in this, the mental health counseling at Medicine Hat, their expertise. You can do it anonymously. There's great level anonymity, meaning you don't have to submit your name. Um, you can call them right up by calling 403-529-3819. And information is also available through this online link you can see here, or you can contact SARS, and the link is at the bottom. And if you have any concerns with your mental health, and it will never distill back to me unless you want it to, unless you say, wow, I've missed a few assignments. I haven't really contacted my instructor. I feel like I'm falling behind. I would say first contact me, talk to me and tell me what's going on. I'll try to work with you. We'll try to hammer out a new contract or schedule, right? And then if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can contact them and they'll contact me, if you want to have a third party involved. That's fine. Whatever you want to do. We're here to support you. Student responsibilities, the things that you are responsible for within this class. One, knowing that we are reading and having it read before class. Sorry, know what we are reading and having it read before class. I don't know. Is that real important on Tuesdays and Thursdays? You haven't read it yet? You got to have it read by the time it's time to discuss and do open-ended questions on Blackboard and to submit your essays. Yes, of course. Does that mean you're reading it that day, right before the essays due? Maybe in some cases. My graduate degree is in poetry. Did I do that sometimes? Well, by the time I received my graduate degree in poetry, probably not, but I certainly did. My bachelor's degree and master's degree is in English, my bachelor's degrees in journalism with a minor in poetry and creative writing. So yeah, I did do it then. I wouldn't say it's the best thing to do, to not have it read before class. When you're face to face and when we're like sitting in a circle, talking about the poetry, extolling its merits and then denouncing its bad parts, it gets pretty embarrassing if you haven't had it read. But we're not sitting in a circle, are we? So it just make sure that you have it read by the time deadlines are due for assignments. Reading the assignment text in their assigned format, i.e., not Spark Notes or Wikipedia. You need to have that book either online or in front of you, and not have just, oh, I'm going to go out there and just look up the poems we're talking about, right? Some of them aren't going to be available uh, in that way online, right? Submitting assignments on due dates, great, that needs to be done. Crafting all assignments using strictly, and I never used to qualify MLA with the word strictly, but I do now because I've received so many other formats, including APA in Chicago. But strictly format your essays with MLA formatting style. It is not going to be important to craft your online discussion board and open-ended questions with MLA. That's not important, right? Just give me the paragraphs that you're going to write, right? I don't need it to be MLA, but it is going to be important with these essays that are MLA. I'm going to take off points when they're not. Engaging in classroom discussion via Blackboard, very important component of this class, Blackboard. Being respectful of each other and the professor and acting in a mature manner. That everybody seems to follow that every semester. Checking Medicine College's email regularly, including reading the emails for any class updates. That's going to be important. I don't know if some of these dates, seemingly every semester, they might shift by one date, because of extenuating circumstances that take place, whether on my side or your side. So it's going to be really important. It's crucial and paramount even to check your email on a regular basis for updates. And for me, telling you, hey, the window's open for you to go and answer open-ended question number 2 or class discussion number 3, right? It's open. Go do it. And here's your lecture for the day, by the way, too. Um, let's see. Reading all assignment guidelines thoroughly to avoid making errors. I think that's pretty normal. Organizing your time effectively so as to complete and submit assignments on time. Knowing how to use Blackboard to submit assignments in advance of submission deadlines and to submit them in the correct formats. So I really want it to be either I'd rather it be in a Word document, like Microsoft Word, right? So .doc and .docx. I'd rather not be in PDF because it's hard for me to make comments in the margins with PDF, right? To make digitally type in the margins, right? Which is it's something that I'd like to do for your finals when I hand them back, right? Well, when I hand back your grade, and then email it to you. I'll email you the essay as well with my comments. Yeah, let's take a look at the next slide. Okay, here we are. Final slide. We got through the first lecture. Questions? Please feel free to email me. I implore you to do so at any point during the semester if you have any questions or concerns. That's basically our contract is part of it is my office hours, right? And my office hours are not limited to 1 hour here and there. It's anytime you want. I'll allow you to email me because of the circumstances that we're currently in. And I'll answer you back right away, historically right away. I'll be sure to respond right away typically, especially during the week. Very important, include your class section, WBMA. You will see that on the front of the class outline, the syllabus, in the email, so I know which English 233 class to respond to. Especially if I start seeing a trend of individuals, and it happens every semester, they're asking the same question over and over again. I'm like, wow, okay, I failed to mention this in some capacity somewhere. Let me send out a mass email to everyone addressing that. All right, I look forward to reading these books. I look forward to being in this class with you. I look forward to the class discussions. I look forward to sending you my lectures and us, really digging down and drilling down on some concepts with regard to poetry. It'll only make you a better writer and a better reader. Poetry is the most sophisticated way to write that we know of, right? You can fit the most information, the most condensed space, and get the most meaning out of it in a condensed space than any other writing form. So it's going to help you and help the edification for you for the remainder of your writing and reading career. Thank you guys. See you next class. Bye.